What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Straight Facts. It's been a minute. I've been paying attention to a lot of what's been going on, and it's sickening. But what we're going to do here, we're going to go ahead and explain a little bit about myself. Just give you a little bit of background of who I am, how I got into this. I've been in entertainment for many, many years. I started out in entertainment like in talk shows, things of that nature. Worked for Arsenio Hall, the very first show. And that's how I got in entertainment in LA. Later went into production and then went into like news production. So I was in news for almost 20 years. That's why when I tell you guys I know news, I know news. And part of the reason why I got out of news is because I can't stand people lying. And a lot of what news does and has evolved to is a lot of lies mixed in with half-truths. A lot of opinions mixed in with half-facts. You know what I mean? And I'll give an example of that. I'll let you know, for instance, what I know about news. For instance, I've been watching these interviews, and George Stephanopoulos, Lester Holt, those interviews were not news. And I'll let you know why. I don't know if this is actually working. I don't see anybody coming into the room in the chat just yet. So I'm going to hold off just a little bit just to see if people start to come into the room. I see people viewing. Okay. So I'll give you an understanding of what I know about the news. I was in it for like 20 years. The way news usually works, okay, and this is how it's supposed to work. When you come in every day, a reporter or an anchor, and this is another thing. People watch like Fox and all that stuff like that, and the Sean Hannitys and all those people. That's not news. Never has been news. Why? Listen to what they call Sean Hannity and these opinionated people. They call them host. In news, there's no such thing as host. A host is only like in a TV show. News has reporters and anchors, right? They have all kind of analysts and consultants and all that. But when you come to the news, you're going to have an anchor, you're going to have reporters. That's what you're calling them, right? So whenever you hear somebody say they're a host and they got news in front of it, complete lie. It is just opinionated shows. That's it. All right, so now that we knocked that down to the real understanding of what news is, we can get a better understanding. So now that you know that there's a reporter and there's an anchor. Anchors on the set most of the times, reporters out in the field. Sometimes they get opportunities to get in front of the set and play that anchorship role. But anyway, so that's how that works. When you talk about journalistic integrity and the way news is supposed to work, you're supposed to look for facts, not make your own. You're supposed to report just what you know, not what you feel. And what I've noticed is when news now, and has been for over a decade now, started to devolve, it was mostly because of, let's say, like TMZ. When TMZ first came out, you'll understand that TMZ was really the point in which news started to devolve. Why do I say that? In news, you don't get paid for your stories. You never did. The only people who got paid for their stories were called stringers. A stringer is a person who basically got a side job, like a license to actually do news, right? So they're kind of held to the same standards that news is supposed to be held to via FCC. Regular TV shows, or ABC, NBC broadcasts, they're restricted by FCC, or they can get sued. You don't find that on cable or streaming. They don't regulate that. So when you hear something like on your local news or on broadcast, they are held to a standard that if they put up the wrong information, they can get sued. Hence, you see like with Fox News, they were saying all these things on their broadcasts as well as on their cable stations. And so when they went out to like all these broadcast places, literally lying about the election, they got sued for, $1 billion or whatever and had to pay $787 million. It's understandable. So, let's see here. To guard your privacy. Bye. All right. Just want to make sure I've been seeing the chat and see if anybody's coming into the chat. I don't know if it's like not available or people aren't doing it. Let me see if I can check that out. Give me a second. See if people can come into the room. If you don't see yourself, I see people are viewing it and so forth, but I don't see you in the chats. So I don't understand how you're seeing it without being in the chat. Give me a second to double check why that's not happening. It's always something with YouTube Live. There we go. It's always something with them. I'm always trying to figure it out. I'm like, what's going on? But anyway, thank you for letting me see that you're in here. So anyway, you'll find out like what news is based upon what they're regulated for. Now, if you're not regulated, that means you can do whatever. You're opinionated. So you're not regulated by the FCC. So the FCC is what's going to keep you as honest as possible. Not that you won't lie. You just know that you're liable to be sued if you're under the FCC guidelines. So that's what that's all about. Now, being in the industry for over 20 years, I understand how it's supposed to be. Back in the day, how it's supposed to be. See, most people didn't realize that news, you used to didn't get paid that much in news. News was not a profitable business. News became a profitable business many years later. And as it started to become more profitable, they started realizing, okay, we need to get there first. You didn't start seeing this breaking news or we're first and all. You didn't start seeing that until money started making a big issue. That's why they wanted everybody to come to their station to watch. A lot of people have been asking the questions about why is Fox number one? It's baffling. Why are they number one when they lie the most? And why, like a CNN and all those other people, MSNBC, why are they losing viewership? And if you look at it from a bird's eye view, CNN and MSNBC, they are trying to compete with politics that are on other news stations, which aren't really news. As you can watch Fox in the earlier part of the day, they're more factual, still lie a lot, but they're more factual in a sense, as opposed to night when it's just opinionated. They say nothing that's true. They always come up with their ideas and fantasies about what could possibly be, right? So when you look at the actual regulation, things that are going out just to regular broadcast, they pretty much are trying to be truthful, even though it's a little slant on the truth. When you see like a MSNBC or a CNN or whatever it may be that's not Fox or right wing, you'll start to understand that a lot of their news directors, general managers, owners are conservative. Now you ask yourself, okay, not everybody that's in front of the camera that you believe to be on your side as a Republican or a Democrat, and let's say in this situation, Democrat, if you're looking at a liberal station, quote unquote liberal, let's say like a Joy Reid, for instance, who seems to be a person that understands, the threat that Donald Trump actually holds. You can see on those situations, sometimes they have views that just don't match. And it doesn't have to be matching because of a liberal stance, but based upon facts. Regardless of liberal or Democrat, we want to deal with facts. If it hurts, it hurts. If it feels good, it feels good. That's a side point. The facts are what we're talking about. What you'll see is how a newsroom works, and I'll explain that a little bit to you. A newsroom, hey, what's going on, Joseph? A newsroom works like this. If I'm a reporter, right, and there's many of them for a station, I come in, and I'm not talking about the journalist that's not the host of the show, that's the anchor of the show, whatever. I'm not talking about that. Or the host of the show, depends on, because some of those people aren't news people. They are, personalities. But if I'm the anchor of a show, right, I'm being fed information. What you're hearing from me is not coming from me. It's coming from a bunch of writers, and those writers are being told what to do by producers. Those producers are being told what to do by executive producers, and those executive producers are being told what to do by the news director, and the news director is being told what to do by the general manager. Okay? So that's how that goes. So once they come into work, they have to pitch their idea, what they thought of. So I go home and I see something in a newspaper in the morning when I wake up. I'm like, oh, that's a good story. And then I find maybe 5 of them. Oh, that's a good story. I read the paper, drink my coffee. Now it's time for me to get into work. I get into work. A lot of these people work afternoons, 3:30 to 11:30 at night, because you end up watching the 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, the late news. So they come in around 3 o'clock, 3:30. And so when they come into work, they have ideas, okay? They may come in at 3. So each person is supposed to bring in like 1 or 2, up to 5, whatever ideas that they pitch in a group with a bunch of the writers and executive producer for each individual show. So they come in and they'll say, what is our game plan for today? What is important? These people throw stuff up on a wall, and the news director, the executive producer, and different producers throughout the day, the different shows and stuff like that are in the room, and they make a decision on like what we're going to choose. What you pitch, if it's interesting, they'll go for it. And they divide it up by what segments of the show they're going to do. So that's how they end up doing it. That's how you can get people who may seem very liberal end up getting into a situation with a bunch of people who are controlling the narrative and having to go do a story that they may not like and have a slant that they may not like. And what I mean by that is they go out in the field and they literally send back their information, and they have an executive producer, they have a fact guy or girl, and they would tell them how factual, what is their stance, because this person that they're sending it into is like supposed to be an expert. He's supposed to be like this guy who like knows everything, like he was there or he knew about, Reagan and Nixon. It's usually the oldest person in the room, basically. And that person is kind of like receiving these reporters' information, and they send it in, and they say, well, what do you think about this? And then they get the go-ahead. This person will say, yeah, that's factual, that's not factual, this happened, whatever. And then they go out and do it. Now, after that, they cut their package or do their interviews, depends on how when they send their stuff in, and then they get ready for their live. That's pretty much how you see them on air. It's already been written. They've already been asked the questions. A lot of people want to know, when a reporter's out there and the anchor's on the set and they say, what did you think about, this or that? Well, that question has already been posed beforehand. This person knows what they're going to ask, not unless it was something live that just happened. The person will send in to the producers, like, ask me about 1, 2, or 3. And they give you like 1, 2, or 3 things. And so whenever you're kind of having banter back from the reporters that anchor, those questions have already been predetermined. Now, there's not always anything nefarious with that. It's just trying to create order. But there could be a chance of something being nefarious. Like they want to put something out. Therefore, you ask them the question, they answer it back, and they already know. So that's the format of how news works. When you're being a journalist, you're not supposed to ask like leading questions. You're supposed to be asking questions to learn the news. You may be asking about something that somebody may have told you, like a source may have told you something, and while you're asking the question, you may ask it in a way that to see if that person that said it is valid or invalid. So you would ask a question, have you heard that this happened and that happened with Joe Biden? And they may be like, I never heard of that. Then you kind of move on. You know what I mean? You don't keep on asking that same question in a different way. You don't go and say, well, what if somebody that's a source said that it was, would you believe it? That's not journalism. That's trying to make the person that you asked valid through somebody else who's valid, which is deceptive, because you're trying to make something, a narrative, correct without going through the right process. Nothing should make air without you validating it. Your opinion should not make air as a journalist without you validating it. Journalism is about seeking fact, not your feelings. And what we've learned, because of TMZ type of style and plus money involved, these people they go for the sensationalism. That's one of the major reasons I quit news, because sensationalism. They would make something way bigger than what it was just so they can get ratings. And then when they find out that that thing is not necessarily true, they don't recant. They move on. They're moving on and not draining everything out of it. Is like their way of saying, oh, we fucked up. As opposed to coming out and saying, yo, we fucked up. What really happened? No. That what really happened won't come out. Now, see, old journalism used to be they would do that. They would come out, we have an update, blah, 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 blah. Validation that they were wrong. We got it wrong based on a source. That's the way news is supposed to work. When you started to see news devolve into we effed up, and we kind of need to tell our people we effed up because, we could possibly get sued. They go to their website where nobody watches. Most of these news organizations' website gets hardly any views, right? Right? So they'll take a little blurb and put it underneath an ad. The update to this thing is, like, for instance, this situation, Joe Biden does not have Parkinson's. But nobody comes out and says it, although they spent an entire day, all day, asking that question, insinuating that he has it, saying that the doctor came to see him basically. And then they find out through the doctor who finally released the information after he asked the other guy, could he release his information? Because Corinne couldn't do it at the podium. They knew she couldn't do it. But they try to force a narrative. They try to force somebody to give them information to break a story instead of letting that person get the information that they need to be responsible to put out responsible news. They're not into responsible news. They're into sensationalism. I'm going to look at some of these things. Say, I'm just asking questions. Yeah, I'm just asking questions. Right, Luana? Ride with Biden all the way. Quit watching mainstream media. Oh, yeah, most definitely. Good evening from Missouri. What's up, Vanessa? I see you, William. Ron, I see you. So what you start to understand is they don't have a narrative that's really trying to find fact. They're trying to get ratings. And this is how I'm going to go over. After I told you, I did that for 20 years, so I know what news is. So when I'm telling you stuff about news, please fact check me. I know what I'm talking about. But I don't want you just to believe me. I want you to fact check me. Go check it. Go ask a reporter. Go ask anything I said is false. Bring it back. We all want facts here, okay? But I'm going to keep it factual. Now, the news media's coverage, starting back with George Stephanopoulos. You see my video? I'm going to go a little bit into it. George Stephanopoulos was asking the same question over and over again. That's not a reporter. That's not an anchor. That's an opinion type of situation. See, as a reporter or journalist, if you happen to know the truth and the person that you're asking the question from is not giving you the truth, it's okay to keep pouncing and saying, like, based on blah, 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 this happened. This person keeps saying, no, it didn't. I didn't do that. I said, well, the sources say this. Well, I don't know anything about the sources. And if you can actually bring up the source, well, let's just say it, bring up a name. Nancy Pelosi says blah, blah, blah. Oh, Nancy told you that. Okay. So then you have a valid type, not necessarily it was valid, but at least you have a source that you can put out there to combat what this person says, right? They've gotten too heavy-handed with sources say, experts say. Give you an example. I'm giving all the tea today, all the tea. Whenever a news source says expert, they're not experts. Most of the time, these people are people that they run around trying to find that are in the field that they want to validate their source. Most of the news, local news, other news that you get to see, national news, CNN, these people are not always experts, right? They literally will say, oh, he's an expert in this, that, and the other. He worked there for 2 months. Not an expert. Go look at their resumes when they say this. These people may have taught at a community college as a substitute professor or whatever, maybe once or twice. Now they're an expert. That's not the case. Most news organizations can't get experts to put their reputation on the line to come in front of a camera and speak on some stuff that's a half-ass idea. Possibly, maybe, but they're supposed to lend their credibility. Most of the time, the people who do come on are seeking to get famous. They're seeking to have some kind of career at being in that particular position. And they'll say whatever the narrative is that the writer or whatever has happened. Because what happens? They get on the phone like, hey, you are a doctor psychology, right? I say, yeah. Okay, what do you think about this, that, and the third? Like whatever they're talking about, somebody's psychological problem. Say, oh, well, I can't really diagnose anything over the phone. Oh, okay, well, thank you very much. You're a psychologist, right? I say, yeah. I said, what do you think about this happening, whatever, with Joe Biden? I said, Joe Biden, do you think that it could be this? It could possibly be, could you meet us here at 5 o'clock? That's what they'll do. Whatever narrative they're trying to push, they'll find the person to push it. Just like you'll see on the news now when they're talking about, well, we have, and this is literal, watch the news tonight or whatever after I get off, watch it right now, stop listening to me, whatever. They'll do this exact same thing. You'll hear reporters when they're talking to somebody out in the field, whatever. They'll say, well, I spoke to a lot of Democrats that are really for Joe Biden and some that are on the fence. Listen to what they had to say. And then they'll show you the guy or woman that says, you know what, I like him, but he's getting kind of older. I'm still going to vote Democrat if he goes, but I would like to, have somebody younger and more vibrant. Oh, okay, that's one. The other one, oh, you know what, I think it's time, that, he sail away into the darkness, just have a good time, have a vacation, anything like that. And then, well, that's probably who we interviewed. Back to you, Katie Tur. You were like, you said, and all of them, I ain't lying to you, every last one of them will say, I haven't seen it yet. They start out with, we interview people that believe Joe Biden should stay in the race, but we're only going to show you the ones that say he shouldn't. What? Why not show us the one that's diehard so you can get that passion with that person? You know why? Because more than likely that person answered the response to that person's questions like this, because they're going to ask a leading question. You think Joe Biden should leave the race? You led the question. What do you think about Joe Biden and all the media that's been on him for the past couple weeks? That's a better question. That person would say, well, first of all, I think you guys are taking it too far. The man is old. We knew that. 14 million voted for him. We knew he was old before we voted for him. We actually calculated the fact that the man was 81 and probably be 83 or 84 by the time, or 85, whatever, when he gets out. We already thought that through before we voted. What we think we're stupid? We can't add? We knew the man was old. So what else is his problem? Did he grape somebody? Did he commit fraud? Does he use language that is like demonic, evil? Did he? No, he didn't. So why are you asking me would I let go of somebody who's done something for me in our communities? Not just my community, white community, Latin community, Asian communities. He's done a lot for all communities, and you're telling me I should let him go because he's old. Well, I voted for him when he was old. That didn't change, did it? What did change? The debate? Oh, okay, one debate. I'm supposed to let go of somebody one debate? Come on now. Be realistic. That's why they didn't put that person on air, because it would have made them stupid to ask that question. They don't want you to hear that. They literally erase what they say, because they said it. They had to ask a bunch of people that were Democrats, literally, to be able to get the ones that they actually put on air. Trust and believe. Those people they put on air were not the first person they put on air. Was not the first person they interviewed. They interviewed a shit ton to get the ones that they think will fit their narrative. See, they write the package first, then go out and find people to fit the narrative. Oftentimes, what they're supposed to do is go out and get the questions that are being told, right, that they need, and then fit the narrative. But what did I tell you what happens? They already know their assignment before they leave. They already know the angle in which their assignment is going to be before they leave. Their news directors literally told them, go out into the black community and find out what they think about Joe Biden and if they think that he should drop out. Not if they think he should stay in. So they go out to find out if they dropped out, if they want him to drop out. They don't. But when they send that back in to get it verified, does that narrative change or does that narrative stay the same? That's the part you got to worry about. The narrative. Who is running the place? The station may be liberal from what you've known it to be, but who's running it? That's why you see that weird shift in CNN where it's kind of very conservative, yet it's supposed to be like, liberal from what everything, or at least somewhere in the middle. And they start stating things that are very conservative. And you're like, wait a minute. These things don't sound right coming out of your mouth. Why? Because these reporters are sycophants. Not to Donald Trump, not to the Republican Party, to their boss. They have zero, how can I say this, guts to go against whatever the boss wants. They'll be fired, most of them. So therefore they ride and toe the line. That's why if you go back and look at the news, depending on who the news director is, go back and look at the news. Go find out, like, when CNN when the news director, the last news director left. Go back 2 or 3 news directors or general managers, whatever you want to look at it, but mostly news directors. Go back to 2 or 3 of them, right? Then go back whatever year that person was the news director, this person was the news director, and this person was the news director. Find out those dates. Then go look on YouTube or whatever it may be and look at the news and the narratives in which they cover somebody. Each news director, the news shifts. How they look at it. It's supposed to be about the facts. It's about the ratings. Who's watching them? If you can't get people to watch you, then you start changing your narrative. Now, why is the news, to me, failing? Because we don't trust them. I see. We don't trust them. You tell one story. Like, for instance, one of the biggest blaring ones, and it's been going on forever, but the blaring ones here recently, I brought up something, was them coming out and talking about Joe Biden and Parkinson's. New York Times. This is what I'm going to tell you was terrible. Well, one thing, before we get into that, news is made normal. This is how news used to be before TMZ. And it's still somewhat, but TMZ is just an additional add-on. And Harvey Levin used to be in news. So he knew how to subvert news. Because news, like I said, stringers were the only ones who get paid. He ended up paying everybody. That's why Harvey Levin stuff, TMZ, became, everybody wanted to watch it because he was paying for news. If you're going to pay for news, that means people are out there trying to make news, not recording news. See, news is supposed to be captured, not produced, right? So in TMZ, a lot of it was produced, not captured, right? So that's what news started to become. How can I produce something? How can I get people to watch me? How can I make money? How can I get to TMZ and get that few $100s he's going to give me every time I bring up a story, right? See, news is all about capturing it. Somebody called up and said, hey, there was a person here, blah, 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 and this, that, and the other, and I saw a bunch of shooting, and they're still out there. News truck is deployed. A reporter is deployed out into the field, go out there and capture the news. They don't go up there and say, hey, man, hold on. Come back. Shoot him again. I got to catch this. They don't do that shit. Not at all, right? That's not how I go down. But that's what they're doing. They're going out there now producing news, not capturing news. So that's why we don't trust them, because you come out and say, like, for instance, the LA Times came out and wrote an article about on the log that said that a doctor came in 8 times that specializes in Parkinson's. 8 times. Joe Biden had 3 physicals, 3, in which he saw a neurologist or whatever this particular doctor was, right? He saw him 3, I don't even know if it's the exact same one, but later I guess they came out with it. 3 times. That means, was there 5 more to equal 8, or was there actually 8 more on top of his 3? Never got that finality. So just in the fact of not being able to verify real information in that article, and everybody in news started spreading that shit, it's like, wait a minute. We don't even know if there was 11 of them, or was there 8 and he was 3? What is it? Never clarified that. They insinuated. That's not news. You don't insinuate to get news. You find out facts. You get sources. So they insinuated that Joe Biden had Parkinson's and that he was being treated for it. Okay? Once that let out, news, as far as video, broadcast, should have never covered it. Ever. Because it was insinuations, no fact. The only thing that should have been was a VO. If you know the difference, of voiceover. Just have video and somebody talking over it. Literally saying, New York Times came out saying that there was a doctor 8 times that came into the president's, or into the White House. The White House doctors actually have over 1,000 patients, and Joe Biden happens to be one of them. You know, if we find out any further information, we'll let you know. That'd have been it. No more than 15, 20 seconds. They spent an entire day insinuating, that's not news, insinuating that something was going on. Even though They had his doctor's records, which the last guy never gave his doctor records, right? They had his records, his physical, a comprehensive physical. And what did like CNN and MSNBC say about this comprehensive physical? When people addressed it and says, Joe Biden gave a comprehensive physical and no Parkinson's is in it. No diagnosis is in it. Well, that's not a real thorough, accurate test of everything that he's going through. So you have facts that there's more? No. So then you're insinuating that there's more than what he gave you. Yes, that's not news. That's gossip. That's your opinion. It should never make news. But it always makes news now because the person doesn't want to admit they have no information. So they insinuate. They try to get A to equal B without having any connection to it. And they insinuate. Just like I was always told when I was growing up, you assume something, you make an ass out of you and me. Find the facts. But news is becoming an assumption factory. We assume something. And when the facts come out, everybody else did it too. So what is it about the person that you try to destroy? You're going to say you're sorry to them or something? Or you just going to keep moving on and trying your best to destroy them? It makes no sense. When you look at them saying he had, basically insinuating that he had Parkinson's, when Corinne came out and spoke at that podium and they asked her the question, she kept saying, I can't give you names at this desk. You know that. They knew that. Now, you American people out here may not know that. You may not know the political process, but she can't give actual information. That's like doxing somebody. You can't dox somebody at that podium. That's an official act. She can't do that. That person has to give you their valid reason as to why, this information is coming out. Now, she did say words that came out of her mouth. Does Joe Biden have Parkinson's? No. Does Joe Biden have medication or is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No. Has he ever taken medicine for Parkinson's? No. Next question. What did they do? Continue going down the path. Can you give us a name? Can you give us a name? Can you give us a name? You just got the information that you really wanted, but you're still digging. What are you digging for? What are you trying to find out? Because if you were news, you just found out the information. Oh, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. Okay. But you kept saying it as if she was going to say something different. That's not journalism. It was disgusting to watch. And then later that day, oh, you're welcome, Angela. Then thank you for the gift. Then later that day, the doctor comes out. After he had legally asked the people involved, can he release this information? He got the permission from Joe Biden. He got the permission from the other doctor that this doctor visited and that information. He puts out a letter to Corinne, who puts it out to the press. What did you hear from the media? Did you hear the media say, I'm sorry? Did the media say, I'm sorry? Did the media come out and put out a blurb and say, you know what, we got it wrong? They did not. What did they do? They kept the lie going. Backed up off of it. They backed up off of it. My lights went out. Hold on. I want this thing to blow out. They backed up off of it. They made it seem as though he could still have it, but we're not going to verify it. They left it alone. How don't you come out and give a whole day of information that we got it wrong? When did a reporter or anchor come out and say, the doctor put out this note here that he doesn't have Parkinson's? We were wrong. We was asking the entire day. That's basically our bad. Joe Biden, we will let you know, Joe Biden does not have Parkinson's. That doctor came to visit a patient that this doctor actually helps outside. We can't give out his name because it's illegal to do, because, it's against the law to give out any medical records to anybody else. But we know from this doctor and the other doctor that he met, it was not because of Joe Biden. Oh, and by the way, in July 2nd, what did Joe Biden do with Parkinson's? He put out a bill for Parkinson's, one of the biggest of its kind, to research Parkinson's. Who gave him all this credit for it and said, hey, you know, it was a great job that you're doing for Parkinson's? None other than the actor who has Parkinson's that played in the movie Back to the Future. His organization, his fund was thankful to Joe Biden for actually dedicating this program, this thing, to Parkinson's. And they didn't come out and say nothing. I mean, they could have had him there, the actor there, Joe Biden there, and said, thank you for this, that, and the third. We got it wrong. They could have did anything positive, but no. You can tell news is headhunting when they literally are putting stuff out there, and when it turns out to be a complete fabrication, they don't recant. They just move on to another thing to try and destroy him. To me, I'm like, yo, this doesn't make sense. You're supposed to be neutral. And if you get it wrong, you're supposed to let people know. Just as hard as you went to lie on him, you should have went twice as hard to get the truth out. But you didn't. This is why people can't stand you, CNN. Michael J. Fox. Thank you, Auntie Pearls. Michael J. Fox. His foundation. Go look it up. His foundation was thankful for Joe Biden for passing this thing. I think it was on July 2nd. Parkinson's Act. And you're like, wait a minute. He passed a Parkinson's Act. LA Times should have, New York Times, I think. New York Times should have known this. They should have been like, a doctor for Parkinson's visited the White House 8 times. They just passed a Parkinson's bill at the very beginning of this month. Maybe that was the reason why. Then they should have did their research, called up anybody that had to deal with that Parkinson's Act and say, did you visit the White House? See, that's the homework they should have did before they put that article out. The homework wasn't done. If it had been, this would have never been a story. But again, they want to have ratings. So they're putting stuff out there without vetting it. And everybody ran with it. And here's the problem with media now. Because New York Times effed up and everybody did not verify. See, this is what they used to do when they still were valid news to some degree. If the New York Times came out with this, they would have read it and said, well, there's no factual basis to connect it. It is just a possibility that it was Joe Biden, not 100%. Can we get some more validation that could have been Joe Biden? Was Joe Biden even there that day? Was he even on the logs? Was Joe Biden at those 8 times that Joe Biden, that doctor came? Was Joe Biden even at the White House? Was he even in the state, in the country? Where was he at? It turns out Joe Biden even wasn't there. Joe Biden wasn't even there for most of the 8. He wasn't even in the White House. That information should have been known before they aired it. But they didn't take the time to find out the facts. All they wanted to do was get out there, be first. They saw New York Times say it, New York Times say it. They believe New York Times. Now this is the part where most people don't know. I understand why they did it. It's wrong, but I understand why they did it. One is ratings, but that's not the only reason they did it. Other part is TMZ trying to get there first. That's not even the reason why they did it. Most of y'all don't know the news is lazy as fuck. The news gets its news from the newspaper. These news organizations are lazy as hell. They don't send their people out to find stories that much anymore. These people literally read the newspaper and figure out what stories they want to do. They don't have the tip lines anymore. Even though they do have it at the desk, it's rare. Tip lines were people calling in and saying, hey, there's something going on over here in Texas, whatever the hell you at, in Houston and whatever. There's something going on. That situation, they rarely follow anymore. That's news. Finding out what's going on in your state or country, that's the way news works. You get a tip, and you kind of like move toward that tip. No. These people read the newspaper, figure out what's going on in the news, and pick and choose what they want, and then come in and pitch it and do the story. Cover with video and audio what you see written down on paper. That's the laziest way to do news, and that's what they do. New York Times wrote it. Must be valid. They did their homework, and they ran with it without doing any homework, without validating the New York Times. Now, the question should be, Now that you got by the New York Times because they fucked up and didn't do their due diligence, now all of y'all look stupid. What do? Ignore it? But doesn't that kind of like put a little less luster, take a little shine off of New York Times that they don't do their homework fully? Well, no, because the rest of these people don't do their homework either. So they can't complain about people who did homework and got it wrong as opposed to people who don't do homework and keep guessing that you're going to do yours. This is why I can't stand news. This is why you don't tell the truth. And when you find out a story you used to validate it, now you just run with it. If they're making money off of it, I'm going to make money off of it. If it's wrong, we'll just move on just like they move on. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. Just got out of prison today at the MC, and he said he would not turn on Trump to save himself. Don't tell me it's not a cult. Oh yeah, it's a cult, Brenda. More than likely it's a cult. I appreciate you for responding. I trust you in both of the fifth column period. I want facts. Right? Just want facts. You know, Fox does this thing where they put on all corrections, rapid scroll, probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. Never seen a correction from MSNBC. No news media or paper. Don't plan to. It's about the ratings. Yeah. I don't know about what Fox does with their notifications. That's still not enough because, in all honesty, all these news stations do put it out there to save their butts from getting fired or not fired, sued. So what they'll do is they'll put it in a place where nobody's paying attention. A scroll is nothing. You don't read that scroll. What is it? You mostly think those things are like updates or alerts or alarms. You're not reading that and going to find out what they're talking about in a little bitty blurb. If you spend all day lying and you write a blurb to get it, that's bull. You need to be on camera doing it. See, because I'm going to tell you, like MSNBC and all the other ones, they too will apologize for what they do. Don't get it twisted. But it's on their website. You got to go find it. It's not available to see. It's not like a banner that says, we fucked up. The truth is this. The truth is this. They won't do that. It'll be small ass font somewhere under an ad because they know you're not going to look at the ad most of the time. In an article that you're not paying attention. Update, blah, 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 blah. This. Or if they wrote the article about it on their news, in that article at the very, very bottom, written in small, update, da. You're not going to the bottom of that if you already read it before, right? Exactly. If you were on air saying it, you need to be on air recanting it. Point blank, period. Oh, you're welcome, Deshay. Yeah. Local newspaper all over a country. Yeah. Is facing an indictment for, I see that on Watch corporate media. It's hard to have trust in them anymore because of the things that they do. I'm like, all you need to do is tell us the facts, whether they feel good or not. Tell us the facts. And the people need to check those facts. Because if they don't bring receipts and they just bring feelings, don't pay attention to that shit. Bring the receipts or you go seek the receipts because it just doesn't make any sense. That was, when we talk about the one instance of how Joe Biden was given a disease that he didn't have and never recanted that he didn't have said disease. The only thing that recanted that was a letter that the doctor sent out to Corinne, who put out to the press, who nobody really ran on. They just stopped saying that he has Parkinson's, but they still say he has some kind of episode. I'm like, okay. So now he has episodes. Okay. That was Lester Holt. So I watched George Stephanopoulos interview. And George Stephanopoulos, that was not journalism. That was trash. And again, this is not all about being biased because I am voting for Joe Biden. And he has kept most of his promises. But the thing that I look at is from the factual basis, from the news world, and telling the truth. George Stephanopoulos asked the exact same question multiple ways. That's not journalism. See, again, journalism is about seeking fact. You're supposed to be passionate about finding out what's true. But see, it became a point where that this gotcha, I don't even call it gotcha journalism. I call it gotcha gossip because it doesn't deserve to be called journalism. It's gotcha gossip. They want to find something that gets you so that you can get ratings, so that you can put some crazy ass caption just so that people come and watch and you make money off of it. But the reality is you're dealing with a human life here. I mean, fuck the money aspect. If the money don't come with the facts, then fuck the money. I don't want blood money. I don't want like tearing somebody's life apart money. Who would like that? I mean, to me, that's just sickening that you would literally lie to make cash. I'm like, why would you do that? When you can have a good life telling the fucking truth. It's very simple to do. George Stephanopoulos literally asked the same question over and over again about the debate. And when he said, I messed up, I take responsibility, it's bad, I had a bad night, but, you know, I'm moving forward. I've been out there like the last, 10 days, busting my butt. I'm going to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to give up the thing to whatever presidency to someone else? No, I'm staying in the race. Why would I give up? No, it's not going to happen. Never going to happen. Okay, but you sure it shouldn't happen? I'm like, that right there is not journalism. After he's answered the question, there is no ifs, ands, or buts to get. If I tell you I'm staying in the race, point blank, period. A follow-up question is fine. He had 22 minutes. Follow-up question is fine. Well, this person says you do, maybe should. They have a tacit like support of you. What are you going to do? I'm going to listen to the voters. Excuse me. 14 million people voted for me. They want me. Didn't you see me out there? Motown is Joetown. I was out there. They was energized. They told me not to leave. I'm not leaving. That's it. There's no reason to ask me that question for the next 19 minutes. There's no reason. Why are you asking me the same question for 19 minutes after that? Because you have an agenda. News is not supposed to be an agenda. He's trying to get you gotcha gossip. I'm going to catch him in something. I'm going to catch him not remembering he told me no 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to do it again. Yeah, he understands that I'm trying to get him. Okay, I'm going to try it again. You're waiting for him to fall apart, or are you just too stupid to ask another question? Did you not ask any other questions? Did you not write any other questions? Why are you asking the same question a different way? And then you see Joe Biden get kind of ticked, like, come on, George, come on, man. What are you doing? What is this? I'm not getting out of the race. And that's when he told him, you know, these hypotheses, man, what is this? It's ifs, these if statements. What is going on, George? Well, it's not really it's not really a hypothesis. What's not really a hypothesis? A half a hypothesis, or what is an if statement? Right? These if statements. Why you got all these ifs in your questions? Because you've already asked me this question for the last 19 minutes. Now I'm starting to get miffed that I'm wasting my time with somebody I used to respect, but for some reason you have a job here to literally try and get me to do something, get me to say something. I already told you. I answered this question in minute 1. We are in minute 19 now, and you're still asking the same question. And when I tell you that this is these hypotheses that you're having, you're telling me it's not really one, which means it is one, but because people like me feel this way, it's no longer a hypothesis. It's what we really feel. No, that's what you feel, bruh. That's not a we thing. That's a me thing. I'm getting tired of people telling what we feel. I got on this app about 13,000 subscribers. On TikTok, I'm 188,000 followers. None of my followers have come to me saying they're not voting for Joe Biden. So you're telling me 188,000 plus 13. What are we looking at? 200,000 people, and you keep telling me on air that somehow the people aren't behind Joe? Man, get the fuck up out of here. They always bring up these people. These people think this way. These people, I say, no, you're talking about the elites. And pay attention to when Joe Biden says the elites. Joe Biden never speaks about like the elites. What is he really saying? When he says the elites, he's literally talking about the billionaire class, the rich people. They're the ones making this concerted effort to basically say that they're not going to fund the down ballot and him if he stays in. That was like the first thing they were saying. Now they're saying they're going to fund the down ballot, but not him. It's changing over the weeks because they're doing whatever they can to get him to change. And he keeps saying, no, I'm staying in the race, guys. Let's move forward. And every time you turn around, somebody new drops another ball to keep the news on him. This is a concerted effort to get him out. And to me, when 14 million of us decide to get our asses up and go vote for him, and then a few billionaires feel shaky, I thought this was we the people, not me, the rich people. So a bunch of me's is trying to change the way the actual process works. I don't know if y'all know this, but there's no way to kick Joe Biden out legally. So your own party is turning in and eating you because they think because of what? Who's saying that they don't want Joe Biden? What majority of people saying they don't want him? They keep feeding you this narrative. Also, pay attention to how news is playing a role in this. The news has had a steady drumbeat of trying to destroy Joe Biden. Steady drumbeat. Coming up every day, saying things. Even when no new Democrats have came out, they still was doing it. Starts to degrade the people in society, saying, you know what, maybe we should be worried about it. Something the news may know. The news may know something I don't know. I don't know. It brings doubt in the party. Then what happened? Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff drops out. Adam Schiff drops out. And what does Adam Schiff mean to the party? He's like Nancy Pelosi's boy. He represents the rich basic class of people. He's one of their largest fundraisers, which means he's connected to a lot of wealthy people that donate a lot of money. So he drops out. So you know the rich people have talked to him. Now, there's no legal way to get Joe Biden out. There's no rule that can get him out. Once you're nominated, you're nominated. Your delegates are yours. He's got to release them. And you're sitting here like, wait a minute. You're literally trying to stab him in the back after he brought all y'all to the party. His plans, his thoughts have gotten all of you guys like love from the Democratic Party. Has helped you win. The red wave that's supposed to happen didn't happen. Has helped you guys. And when he needs you, you turn your back on. I don't know what community you guys come from. But in the black community, if you have said you're going to support somebody, they got to do some real dirt for you to turn on them. Now, if Joe Biden came up and was like, yo, he committed fraud, or he raped, or he was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane 7 times, whatever, I can see then. Because the Democrat Party's like, yo, not until you show me that you done effed up, especially the black people, we riding with you. Once we already said we with you, we with you. We don't turn on people just because they get old. That's why you put a good team around you. Nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. You could be 18. You're not guaranteed to make it 18 in one day. You could die at 18. Lord knows many have. There is nobody running for president, vice president, senator, that can tell you tomorrow they're waking up. Not a one of them can tell you that that is the case, that they know for a fact. They just hope and pray they do. And for people to act like, oh, Joe may die in office. So, what's that got to do with anything? You could put in Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom could die the next day he gets elected. Why? We don't know what the man has. People die of cancer. People die of accidents. People die of heart attacks that come out of nowhere. This is not a real argument, people. The man is old. We knew this. We knew this. When we went to 14 million of us went and voted in the primaries, we didn't think the dude was Benjamin Button. We didn't think in 4 years he was going to turn into a baby. We know in 4 years he's going to be older. That's how it works. Do we look stupid to you? I'm just asking. Do we look dumb? Yeah, I'm not even trying. I get your point. I'm not even trying to bring the other minion idiot into it. I'm just talking about us. Us as a party. I don't care about the way they think because it's crazy. You see my stuff. Trump whisperer translating stupid. That's some stupid stuff that's going on over there. That's a whole different topic that I will talk about. But right now I'm talking about in-house party. Like what's going on with us. George Stephanopoulos. Not his integrity went out the window. And not just for me. If you guys paid attention to it, what did ABC do the next day? When they, not next day, but after the interview, he got caught by somebody on the street. And he said, I don't think he's going to be able to make it another 4. And then kept walking. What happened to him right after that? ABC came out with a disclaimer. That's George Stephanopoulos' idea. Ain't got shit to do with ABC. Why? Because they could get sued for saying something like that. Why? Because it's work product. The information that he got was at work. And whatever he may think, it was a work product. He would have never had that interview. He ain't like going to George's crib talking to him. He went to a work site, which means everything that man says that is not on the record, as a journalist, George Stephanopoulos can't say a word. If he saw that man come in drunk and fall on his ass and get back up, shit himself, all that, can't say a word about it because of his journalistic integrity. After that, it's like giving up your sources as a reporter. Your career is trash at that point. At least it's supposed to be if you're a real journalist. But we don't have real journalists anymore. So you realize that ABC immediately came out and said, hey, that's George. He was on the street talking to somebody, had nothing to do with us. It's not work product. We can't be sued. Sue his ass. So then what did he do? George Stephanopoulos, first time he get to a mic, somebody talk to him, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. That's what he did. Why did he do that? Because he wasn't supposed to talk about that. It was his opinion, and he was talking in a news perspective. As a journalist is where you got this information, not as an individual. Now, if you went to a party that wasn't a political one and saw him doing certain things, and you saw it but didn't interview him, and it wasn't like an on the record, off the record thing, then you could come out and say whatever you want. Say whatever you want. I saw him, he was drunk, he fell on his ass. You could say that. Not as a reporter. You got your information as a reporter. And even then, he didn't bring up anything that was like, I saw him doing anything. He didn't bring up any actual facts. He brought up his opinion. And you can't even give your opinion as an anchor because then you're supposed to be neutral. But you could tell by his interview, he wasn't neutral anyway. He was already on one side of the fence. And you could tell because he never asked him a neutral question. He always asked him questions that were leading and ones that he wanted to get an answer to, not seeking an answer from. Again, report the news. Don't make the news. He was trying to make the news. There was nothing in the George Stephanopoulos interview that was trying to capture news at all. And news is captured, not produced. You capture it and you come back home and you come back to the office or whatever it is and you direct it and produce it, but you don't change the facts out of it, right? You're not supposed to switch it around and make yes or no. So that's what that means. Then you go into Lester Holt. What's going on, everybody? You get into Lester Holt. Now, the Lester Holt interview was horrible as well. Not again because I'm a Democrat, but because it wasn't journalism. Why? Okay. Lester Holt asked the same questions that George Stephanopoulos asked. As you can see, Joe Biden was kind of looking at Lester Holt like, come on, man. Again, that same thing. Why? Because it wasn't journalism, and he recognized that. He recognized that this was, at one point, this is gotcha gossip again. The thing that was different between Lester Holt, after he asked the same questions as George Stephanopoulos, the thing that was different, he asked a couple of different questions because, things that happened in the news that wasn't going on when George Stephanopoulos asked the questions. So you could tell he had a blending of the same types of questions that he's going to ask that George Stephanopoulos had asked already. So in all honesty, the questions had already been asked and answered from George Stephanopoulos. He came, Lester Holt, and asked some of the same questions that had been asked and answered. Got the answer, and again, would not accept said answer. Started to implement his ideology or his boss's ideology or whomever's ideology, saying that, but people say type of thing. It's like, okay, what people? Just experts or whatever the hell it may be. We can't go off of that in the audience. So he brought up all these scenarios, and Joe Biden said, I'm not getting out, bro. Just not going to happen. They're my delegates. I'm doing it. I don't care what Nancy Pelosi says. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm not getting out. What now, basically? And then he goes on one of the other questions, but this is the one that got to me the most, that I realized that this is not a journalistic endeavor, is when he asked Joe Biden about J.D. Vance, and what he thought about Donald Trump's pick. And he goes in and he says, yeah, I'd say J.D. Vance said, this bill and that bill that he doesn't like. And there's a lot of things that he's against, of course, all these different things that are going on that we don't like. Affirmative action they're trying to get rid of and stuff like that. They're trying to get rid of women's rights, to their own bodies and different things. And the things that he believes in, not really a big issue. Basically, he's trying to say that Kamala Harris will whip his ass. Don't worry about it. He's a non-factor is what he's trying to say. And then he goes, did you even hear what he had to say about Donald Trump? And if you watch that video, this is a time for him as a candidate to kind of like have his moment, to say, like, he literally said that Donald Trump was America's Hitler. He said Donald Trump is a complete idiot. He said you can see him. He starts to rattle off. He's going to put one thing he's going to say about, J.D. Vance. One thing he's going to say about J.D. Vance. And he goes, did you hear what he said about Donald Trump? He said, and what did Lester Holt do? Interrupt the president and said, did you hear what he said about you? And I'm like, wait a minute. You're interviewing the president and you interrupt him speaking when he's about to tell you the question that you asked about J.D. Vance. I'll tell you this. And did you hear what he said about Donald Trump? Which, again, is a campaign way to say these things he said about Trump. This is what he said about Trump. This is what he said about Trump, which contradicts what he believes now. Put him out to be basically a person who just flip-flops. That is a good soundbite for the Democrats to have in that interview. And what did Lester Holt do? Interrupt it. Who benefits from him interrupting the president trying to get his point across, because he agreed to this interview not only for ABC to get ratings and get people to care about what they believe, but also to get what the president has to say and what the president has to offer for a next term and what he thinks about his opponent. But when he starts to talk about his opponent and give points about certain things that you asked about, you cut him off and then defend the other side. You hear what he said about you? You can see in Joe Biden's face. He was like, what? That's when he started to dissent with this dude. He's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. I can't win with you either. You have a preset notion and you're not going to let me say what I want to say. You're just going to sit here and try your best to like destroy me. I thought you were a journalist. You can see it. I thought this dude was a journalist. He's one of them too. He's the exact same as a Republican. He's literally in here to defend them when they're not here to defend themselves. I guarantee you, when he has an interview with Trump, he's not going to interrupt him and tell him, "Oh, you hear what J.D. Vance said about you?" He's not. He's going to let Donald Trump ramble off all kinds of negative things, one after another on Biden, and he's going to let 75 of them go. He's going to mention one. Well, that's not fair. You did that to Joe Biden too. There'll be one. It'll be 75 that he'll let fly. 75. Why do I know this? At the debate, did y'all know Donald Trump lied a minimum of 28 times? Have they mentioned him lying at all? Nope. They just mentioned him looking old and fragile and all this other shit. That's it. No two sides to it. Only one side to the whole thing. And then they would tell you, we're just following journalism. I spoke about it. Even Joe Biden said, did you even say anything about that? Yeah, we've spoken some things about it. He goes, no, you haven't. No, you have. Yes, we have. I'll send it to you. Well, I want to see if Joe Biden has the video that he said he was going to send to him. Because if he don't, the next interview, I want him to literally say, hey, Lester Holt, I'm still waiting on the video of you actually saying 28 lies that Donald Trump said on your air. I want to see where you said that, because you said in an interview that you did cover it. I want to see it. That's all. Send me the video, because you said you was going to do it. I guarantee you Lester Holt didn't send shit, because that interview was a hit piece. Just like George Stephanopoulos, hit piece. They weren't searching for any information. They weren't trying to capture the news. They was trying to make it. And it's disgusting. That should not be the case. They should be asking questions, hard questions, but to be asking the same question over and over again after you got an answer to it, did they really think the answer was going to change? You got to ask yourself, why did they think the answer was going to change? Because in their head, they think he has a mental problem. And they think if they keep asking it over and over again, he's going to give us a different answer. So this video will prove to him that he's not there fully. He just had to go back and watch this video. So go in there. They were tasked to go in there to trip him. And as soon as you do, we'll play that shit over and over again so that we can show him that he's basically washed up. And instead of doing that, turns out Joe Biden was all there. Was all there. Recognized George Stephanopoulos was doing a hit piece and said, man, next time let's have a real interview. Next time, Lester Holt, he said, next time let's talk about the topics that the people want to hear. You guys keep asking the same question. Pick up your journalism game, because this right here, you thought you got me, but you got. Next. That's what happened at both of these interviews. They tried to trip him up. They tried to make him look like a fool. He made them look like a fool. And what? They continue the same narrative. If you don't realize a hit piece when you see it, then you're blind. Those people did not try to seek any kind of news. They tried to make news. It's just insane. Yes, ageism, Karen Donaldson. And I don't understand, when did ageism become a thing? I was always told older people are wiser. And every time growing up, I listened to old people, and they are hella wise. They've seen it, been through it. They know the pitfalls. They know what has worked, what hasn't worked. See, younger people always come in and try and do the same thing if they don't listen to older people. You try to do the same thing and they be like, yo, that ain't gonna work. You be like, it's new people, it's a new thing. It ain't because of the people it ain't gonna work. It's because of the division it's not gonna work. I'm just telling you, it's not gonna work. Now, that may have worked in the 60s. It ain't working today. It's just not gonna work. Oh, you're just old. You don't know what you're talking about. Then they'll go ahead and try it, waste $20 million, whatever it may be. Turns out it won't work. Wisdom helps you understand what not to do and where the flaws were. It's not working because he's old and don't get it. It's not working because the strategy doesn't work with human beings. Wisdom is a thing, people. Learn from other people's mistake, and you don't have to fall into that same pitfall. Oh, you know what I'm saying. Disrespect myself. I'm a senior and learned so much in life. Yes, I learned so much from my elders, man. I'll never forget when I was a kid, there was a guy named Mr. Hagan. And people who follow me know exactly who I'm talking about. They've never met him, but they know this is the man that helped shape me into a man outside of, my family members, but he shaped me into a man because he taught me at a very young age responsibility. I learned gardening from him because of certain things that I did wrong that he set me on the right path. He didn't have to. He chose to. I'll give the story just a little bit, because, again, listening to older people. Mr. Hagen was a grandfather. He was older. I was like 8 years old, something like that, 7, 8 years old. And I was in, second grade, third grade, whatever it is at 8. I went to School 71. I remember, I'm from Indiana. Went to School 71. I lived right next to the school. It was like School 71, Mr. Hagen's house, my house, right? So Mr. Hagen had this strawberry patch all along my side of my house. So he had a garage and a strawberry patch where he had this like cross, metal fence. And a little kid could stick their hand in the little cross holes there. And me and my friend were outside in the backyard playing, got out of school. And my friend said, man, he got strawberries over there. He was hungry. So he went over there, put his hand through it, got a strawberry, ate it. He said, man, it's good, it's fresh, whatever. I'm like, I grabbed one, I'm eating it. We going down on these strawberries. Oh, it's killing them, right? Again, it's by the garage, and there's a big tree in my backyard. So there's a shadow of the leaves up against this garage. You can see them blowing in the wind. And my friend was facing me toward the house, my house. I was facing the other way toward the end of my backyard. And he looks at me, then he looks up, he screams, and he takes off running. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I look up, and I was scared to turn around. I don't know what the hell's behind me. If he took off running scared like that, I was like about to bounce. But I was at my house. So I looked at the garage, and I saw this shadow. He was about 6 feet something. I saw this shadow of this big human standing, and I'm a kid. I'm bent on the ground on my knees. And I look up, I'm like, holy shit. I'm scared to death, y'all. I don't know what the hell to do. So I get up slowly, and I'm about to take off running. And he said, where do you think you're going? I'm like, I turn around, it's like Mr. Hagen. Oh, Mr. Hagen, I'm sorry, we just got hungry, blah, blah, blah. And he said, look at your friend. And I said, yeah, he ran because he was scared. He said, yeah, but he left you behind, didn't he? I said, yeah, he did. I said, did you call that a friend? Yeah, he's my best friend. You need to learn that if your friend was your friend, he would have stayed here and helped you and not left you. Again, I'm like 8. I don't know no better than that. I'm like, what the hell? That's some logic I can't understand. I'm like, I had to think about that for a minute. I'm like, this motherfucker did leave me. You know what I'm saying? So he gave me that wisdom. An older man. He had to be, again, in his 60s, maybe 70s, late 60s. He was older than my mom. My mom was in her like late 30s or mid 30s or something. And so I was like, wow, okay. And he said, but it's not done. If you're hungry, you should have came over and asked me. Because I was a latchkey kid. My mom wasn't at home. He said, you should have came over and asked. I know your mom works. He knew my mom. And he's like, clean that up and come over to my house. And I said, all right, cool. Go over to his house. He fed me. And he said, here's the thing. He was on his back porch. He goes, here's the thing. That's not a friend. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. First of all, not be friends with him anymore. Second, every day you get out of school, you come into my house and you're working in my garden. You're going to pay me back for what you ate. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell your mother what you did because I know she'll be really mad. Just come here, work, and then you'll pay it off. Every day I came there and I worked, and he would give me wisdom. He would tell me about life. He had a nephew they called Red. I'm giving you stories because that's a real name they called him. He was a gangbanger named Red. He was kind of cool with my brother. Me, he was like, whatever. I'm a little kid. He said, I love my grandson, but he ain't about shit. He doesn't care about nobody, don't do anything. He said, I'm going to tell you right now, don't be like him. Don't hang with nobody like him. Tell your brother to stop being around him. He's my blood, but he's lost. I can't do anything for him. But for you and anybody around him, I'll do everything I can. You see, this is the village thing. It takes a village to raise a family. to raise anything. You need a village. He watched out for me despite his own. Taught me how to garden. And not only did I give him the strawberries back, after I got finished doing the strawberries, he gave me a crap ton of them. And on top of that, once they were ripe and everything like that, when they was ready to pull, I helped them pull and stuff like that. He gave me a lot of them to take to my family, and he paid me. That's what we need. People like that. If you ain't listening to the older people who give a damn, you ain't learning anything. If you learn everything by yourself, by the time you get like 50, 60 years old, you ain't learned nothing but what you've learned. But if you have been like me, listening to people older than you, you got 300 years of experience at 53. Those who don't listen to nobody but themselves at 53, you got 53 years of experience. Not 300. Not 600 years. Only 53. The goal is to have as much experience as possible, as much wisdom as possible in your life so that you can give it to others. So they too can have 300, 400 years of experience at 18, at 25, at 30, if they are willing to listen. That's what it's about. But that's just me. Block Ricky Manor. What is it? I ain't paying attention to this at all. Ricky Manor. I don't see him. I got him out of the room. I didn't see that till now. Thank you. All right. So that's where you get, wisdom. That's why I say with Joe Biden, I see wisdom. I see age, but I see wisdom. And I don't care about his ailments, whatever you want to call it. People don't understand. We've had at least 10 presidents that were disabled that did good jobs. I ain't gonna say all of them did great jobs, but they did good jobs. We've had one that had polio that was in a wheelchair. I think it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Let me see. I got his name. Everything's set up here to actually look it up. But it was Roosevelt that had polio. Delano Roosevelt. He had polio. He was in a wheelchair. We had Reagan. Reagan had more issues than you expect. He started out with a hearing impairment and later had Alzheimer's. That dude couldn't tell his ass from a hole in the ground by the time he was in his presidency, but they still wanted him as president. Surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with good people. That's all it takes. FDR, thank you. I appreciate that. Is it Bow, 316, and Christine, and Lunar, thank you. I appreciate you. And experience, right, Lunar? George W. had something. George W. had, I want to say, a hearing problem. Let me see. George W. had... Ooh. Are you talking about George Washington? George Washington, I think it was. I don't know about George Washington had a learning disability. There are many presidents that had learning disabilities, like dyslexic, wasn't great at reading type of thing. Woodrow Wilson, George Washington, learning disability. Reagan had the hearing impairment before he ended up having Alzheimer's. Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, had polio. Was in James Madison had epilepsy. Abraham Lincoln also had a mental disease. They thought he had Marfan syndrome or whatever, but he used to have massive headaches all the time. John F. Kennedy had learning disability, and he also had chronic pain, always in pain. Thomas Jefferson, learning disability. Dwight D. Eisenhower, learning disability. Bill Clinton had hearing impairment. He always wore hearing aids. Most people didn't know it. He had hearing aids. And, of course, Joe Biden has a speech impediment. But still, I don't care about those things. They still were presidents, so that doesn't disqualify somebody. But that's what happened with Lester Holt, his interview. It was just pure trash. I put it on under the video on YouTube. I actually said it was pure trash because as a person that I consider to be an expert in journalism, I spent college being in that field, came out, got into that field. I was a president in college of the National Association of Black Journalists, NABJ. Got out, was in film and television, worked on talk shows, like I said, Arsenio Hall, Roseanne and Tom Arnold, and a bunch of other different things prior to getting into news because I had that background, editing, writing, directing. And I got into news because it was paying a lot, got into the union, and was in it for over 20 years. And so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to news. And I understand where news devolved into and why it started to actually move toward the TMZs of the world, the gotcha gossip as opposed to real news. As you realize, TMZ does not make news. Does not report news. They make the news. They get a call from a producer or an agent of some sort or a publicist and say, oh, Jamie Foxx is going to be at the airport at 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? They go in at 3 o'clock, taking video pictures of everything else, asking people questions, get some other B-roll, and then he comes off flight 304 at exactly 7:15, and they're right there to ask a question. That's producing the news. That's not being there and boom, it's there. No, it's producing it. That's like he automatically called you, you be there. So when you start to see all these wonderful things, that was at the very beginning. They still kind of do it. That's when you start to think that it's real news. No, you were suckered into believing that it was real news. It wasn't. It was manufactured. All it was a press release for an artist. Every time that shit happened, why was it every time, you see somebody like that, they had a record coming out. They had a movie coming out. They feel like they just cut. Oh, man, I didn't know you was coming. Really? What song's coming out next, Jamie? Oh, I got this whole album. That's what I thought. That's what that shit was. And news couldn't compete with that. They start seeing Harvey Levin and these other people making money hand over fist, and they wanted to take a part in that. The ratings were going that direction. They weren't getting as many calls because they were calling, TMZ to get paid for everything. TMZ didn't do anything free. Everything was paid. So they had a pile of cash to control the news. And they started to do so. So much so that they would be used as a source for news. People would be like, oh, news using TMZ. TMZ is like better news than... No, TMZ is manufactured. News used them because guess what? They can't pay for it. They have to do it. A stringer they can, but not every day because that destroys what news actually is. News is supposed to be not jaded by money, but ruled by facts. Journalism. So you're not supposed to pay for news. You get it for free. Harry Levin knew that. He knew that, but he went against that because he wanted money. And therefore, he created TMZ. Hence, we think TMZ is, some of us, that it's better news than news. If I pay for news, if I pay to make things happen, of course you'll think it's better because everything I say is truthful. Why? Because I paid for it. That's why it shouldn't be considered news. You should not be paying for news. Only if you are a stringer of some sort, where you're going out and you're actually investing in finding information and recording it, capturing it, and sending it. Not calling people up and say, hey, where you going to be at? I'm going to be there tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to record this shit and we put it out. How much you want? Oh, I'll give you 20%. I'll take 80. Nah, 50? 50? All right, cool. And here it is. The person they're interviewing getting paid, and so is Harry Levin, and so is the person recording it, and everybody thinks it's real news. Who he captured that? How did he get it? He paid for it. That's how he got it. That's how he got it. People saw Amber Rose. Yeah, I don't pay attention to that. It was crazy. You know what's so crazy about that Amber Rose thing is that I saw people on TikTok. I didn't go watch it. They show like all this Twitter and truthing and all stuff like that. These Republicans. Oh, she was like, I found my home. These Republicans were ripping her to shreds. Why'd you put this hoe on the air? It was just so much like vitriol toward her. I found my home. You mean the home where they calling you the hoe and she has the slut walk and she got a tattoo on her head and she's nowhere near God. They call her everything but a child of God. And I'm like, these are your people that you just found. You did. She said, I heard the side. So I'm like, I did my homework and this is my home. I'm like, really? You did your homework and that party's like thinking you're the most disgusting thing on the planet? Have you looked at what they've been saying about you? Yeah, I guess. It's the craziest thing. Yeah, Lunar. I saw Matt Walsh say it. Matt Walsh was pissed. Thank you, being local. I appreciate it. Matt Walsh was shit. Hey, I saw that. Somebody sent that to me. And I was like, wow. But they sent me like a bunch of clips. I don't want to give the person credit. I know one of them is here on TikTok, on YouTube. It's our sister, Politics by Tabitha. And I think Political Sis as well. I saw them with it. One of them has a video where it has like all the different clips of the things people have said about them. Also, it's another lady. I don't remember her name. She's on TikTok. Sorry. But she had another one that was really, really in depth. And I was like, wow. The Tabitha does rock. And she really went in on him. It's a white lady. I can't remember her name right now. Does a very good job. I feel bad. I don't know her name. Let me see if I can find the video that she had. You hear that one? They not like us. I had her today, so it must be on the videos that I watched or liked, right? You would hope. I'm going to check it out here in a second. Let's see, was this one? Oh, no, this is the one I liked. That's not like us. I want to give her credit because I think she's the one who got the one that had the most in-depth video. It is Corsos and Kittens. Corsos and Kittens 2.0. I think she had the one that was on TikTok. She had the one that was more in-depth about that, like breaking it down. I think it was her. Corsos and Kittens 2.0. I want to give everybody love for if they educate me and I go check it out and it's factual. Love it. One of the things that I realized that I'm tired of with all this is that the Democrats' leadership, of Democrats, they're being wishy-washy, and I don't understand why 100%. But at this point, I'm tired. I got enough on my hands to be battling like the dipshits on the other end. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that they're saying, the idea of if you even read Project 2025, you'll realize that the stuff that we're up against. This party appears to hate women, yet it's got women in the party. This party appears to hate people of color because they want to get rid of DEI. They want to go back to the point where they want to get rid of or at least lessen the powers that are under the civil rights movement, 1964, 65. They literally have in this Project 2025 that they want to lessen that, which means if a man fires a woman because he wants a man in that position, he can do so. It's harder for you to sue. They want to go to, you can't get a divorce unless your husband cheats on you or wife cheats on you. But if he or she beats you, you can't leave. This is a part of the evangelical Christian ideology. And that's the movement that they're going toward. Come on, y'all. That is literally insane. So I don't understand. Like I said before, many years before that, about a year or so, I said that the Republican Party I actually said before he became president in 2016, I said, they're going to try and take your rights away, women. They just are. And this last time, I said, when before they brought in, what's his name? Not Gorsuch. I forgot the guy's name that's the Supreme Court justice that they accused of being a drunkard and assaulting a woman while he was in college. Not Clarence Thomas. I'm talking about one of the last ones that came in, the white guy. It looks goofy. I forgot his name. I see his face, but I don't know his name off the top of my head. But said that they weren't going to vote down on the Roe versus Wade. I knew they were lying. And that right there, Kavanaugh, thank you, Kavanaugh. I knew they were lying. And then what happened? They overturned it. People screamed, black women specifically. I'm not going to lie. I give credit where credit is due. I knew something was going to happen with that. But black women, they were out there like basically, they weren't screaming, but I'm talking about they were just constantly talking about it. It was as if they were screaming at the top of their lungs. Warning, 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 red light, stop, stop, stop. Do not proceed. Do not pass go. Do not let Trump in. And white women overwhelmingly voted for Trump. And I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit. Everything Trump put into place, every time something like I said, dude, we can't do nothing about it. Can't do nothing about it. Another judge. And then that last one went against whatever they said. Obama's like, oh, we got to only, we got like 6 months, 8 months or something like that. I think it was like 8. We can't put the guy in, we can't put him in. We're not going to do it. Oh, okay. Then all of a sudden Trump's in. They got weeks before he goes, oh, let's throw Amy, whatever her name is. Threw her in like last minute. I'm like, so you don't live by what you actually say you stood by before. There is no moral ground with them. They literally lie about everything. Take advantage of everything. They don't care about anything. It is just me, me, me. That party is the party of me. And what's pissing me off, exactly, Monica, listen to the black women. They ain't trying to say this stuff just because they think they know everything. I'm going to tell you, this is the misnomer that people have about black people in politics. And you'll have, again, these black people who are, let's say, independent or mostly Republican. They don't quite get, why black people are so adamant about being in the Democrat Party. But the reason why is because they don't know the history of either party. They're starting at like net zero. They think that whatever year they were raised, they've looked at the Democrat and Republican Party and things they've gotten tired of or whatever. Like some of these black people who say they're Republican, they're tired of the complaints. We're not going anywhere. You might as well get with the program. And look at me. I went from nothing to being rich by turning my people in, saying you guys are stupid. And look at me. I'm rich now, so you could do the same thing. That's like the dumbest ideology ever because you really don't have any factual basis for that other than you. And you understand that you are a minority in that party for a reason. Look at the RNC. It looks like a Klan rally. Ask yourself why it doesn't look like America. But they don't want to answer that. Your party looks like a Klan rally. Why? They have no answer. It looks like a Klan rally because nobody of color that understands that they want something done for their people, their community, believes that Republicans want that to happen. It is only the Democrat Party actually has plans for the people. Republicans don't have a plan for the people. They never give it up. It's gotten so bad that Donald Trump ran and won the presidency without one plan of what to do with it. He had a bunch of bullet point promises. No plan. So when he got in, it was willy-nilly. People were coming in left and right. You got to ask yourself something. If you are a business owner and you have a job that you have available for somebody, you have a description of said job. It doesn't say, I need you to work, bullet point. It says you need to be able to do whatever tasks that are available for this position. And some may not be available right now that you may have to do in the future, but it'll fall under this. So your job may get harder or whatever. More tasks added on later. But they give you tasks. They don't give you a bullet point. This is the job. Donald Trump had a bunch of bullet points of stuff he's going to do. Most of it did not get done. Why? There was no plan for it. Donald Trump will always say, this is coming in a couple weeks. This is coming in a couple weeks. Every time he got caught in an interview, you said you was going to work on an infrastructure bill. Oh, yeah, we are. 2 weeks. That was his point. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we're going to have something come out. 2 weeks. He went the entire 4 years and had nothing. 2 weeks turned into 4 years. Nothing. Why? Because there was no plan. No structure. Now, he still has bullet points. Why? Because the structure is Project 2025. It's thought out. See, all his people left and said, yo, we can't go off of bullet points because we ain't going to get none of the stuff we want done. We got to be organized. So they spent millions and millions of dollars with people who now have been in office with Donald Trump that knows how to get things done, which they didn't know shit before. Now they know how the rules work. They came back and created an entire plan. Millions upon millions. These billionaires are the ones who have donated to the Heritage Foundation. Now he acts like, I don't know nothing about this bill. But yet tells you there's some things that are kind of crazy. How would you know what's crazy in it if you have no idea what it is? Makes no sense. You contradict yourself. But news media didn't cover that shit. They didn't cover that. It was like, only way I heard about it being a contradiction was YouTube. Because I don't follow him. But I saw them say it, and as soon as they read it, I was like, that's a contradiction. Not one person in the news I have seen cover that. That is a contradiction. But they're out here trying to get Joe to mess up on air. I'm like, man, this don't make any sense. Fair and balanced news, not gotcha, like gossip. Was a test run. Yeah, they're learning how to do everything. That's the point. Excuse me. It looks like part of Hitler's propaganda, fight at the convention. Yeah, I'm telling you, that was staged as far as him doing that. He wanted to do that for a reason. And he was pissed off about it. I'm not saying anything other than that. I'm not saying like it was a staged event. I ain't saying that. I'm just talking about him getting up and saying that. He did that for a reason. Yeah, Project 2025 has been covered at MSNBC. The first person I saw cover it, it may not have been the first person that covered it. The first person I saw covering it was Joy Ann Reid. Nobody can afford to sit out. You're right about that. Who said that? Angela Jones, most definitely. So, getting back to it. So I realize in the world that we're in, one of the things that's really ticking me off is the way the Dems are acting and reacting to this. I heard Jake Tapper say something on air which I thought was just despicable. He called people that, like myself and others, who are with Joe Biden because of his age. We don't care what's going on, but all the stuff he's accomplished, and he's not a deplorable human being. He's a really legitimate, God-fearing man. People may not like certain policies he's done, but he's not a bad human being like Trump. And he said something to the fact of calling somebody on the media online. Now, here's another thing. In news, journalism, you don't bring what's online, especially if it's just made up by Joe Schmo. He said, Blue MAGA. I was like, oh, wow. So just because we voted for Joe Biden and we're riding with Joe Biden, you call us blue MAGA. I'm like, do you understand MAGA is despicable? The things they say and have done. The man is a rapist. I don't know if I can say that on say the real word on YouTube, TikTok. I can't. I'll find out later. I don't want them to block this. But he's a rapist, right? E. Jean Carroll. The Epstein files just came out. There's a lawsuit of a 13-year-old girl that said something happened, right? I ain't going to go into detail. You can check that out. There are other things that he's done in the past, the racist things, not allowing people to be in his properties. If they had on an application, they had to write a C on it. If it was people of color, black people who came, write a C on it. We tossed those out, basically. Right? And then, he's got 34 counts of a felony, right? And then he's got other cases that are pending. They riding with that guy after doing all that. Would we be riding with Joe Biden if he did half of that? Hell no. So how can we be considered MAGA? If Joe Biden got charged with half of that, he would be gone. And we're blue MAGA because we're standing it with age? These things are not equatable, people. Donald Trump is old. They ain't even incorporating his age in this. Not only is he old, he spent his entire life being a degenerate, breaking laws and everything, and getting away with it. And you want to call us MAGA because we're standing with a man that's older and wiser. When does this ageism become like a real thing? I mean, ageism is just like any other ism. Racism, sexism. You're not supposed to use it. You're not supposed to tell people they're not qualified because of it. It's against our laws. So how are you guys verifying or justifying that this is a good thing to do? And this is what I'm pissed off at the leadership of the Democrats. They're not listening to us. 14 million of us came out. The news keeps interviewing people who believe the narrative of the Democrats. Not us, but the leadership Democrats. The rich class is telling them what to do, and everybody's following suit. I don't know about you, but I don't feel like I'm heard. I feel like I keep yelling in the wind, and they keep listening to the rich guys. Even though they need us to vote in order to win, they're taking our vote and thinking it's okay. They ain't going to do nothing. These are the guys with the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. We're going to listen to who they want. And then we'll come out here and tell you guys, hey, we want to do this and this and this and this for you. We just want to get rid of Joe. It's all right. We got rid of Joe. Y'all good with us? No, I ain't good with you. I ain't stupid. I ain't voting for the other idiot. But I damn sure am going to vote for Joe Biden. And the next go round, fuck y'all. Get on your own. Try and get the billionaires to vote for you. See how many of those votes going to actually make something happen. It's not. I am done voting for a party that when I tell them and yell into the wind, I'm down with Joe Biden till the wheels fall off. You call me blue MAGA. And then you send out your little minions, your rich minions, to literally try and disrespect the guy who brought you to the dance. Where I come from, and I told you about when I was a kid, Mr. Hagan, I respect older people. Have my entire life. I can't stand people who are literally trying to throw them in the trash can like they dead. He's not in the coffin yet. He didn't live this entire life to have you little shits try to tell him that he's not capable. Yet none of y'all have made it to the president's dance. You still are hopefuls. But you know better? I'm talking about the leadership. You know better. You're trying to make a man retire when the rules don't say he has to. Yep. I'm doing my own thing after this. I'm voting blue this time, of course. Next time, I got a whole nother faction of the Democratic Party I want to start. I call it the PC Democrats. It's not politically correct. is people's choice. I want the people to make the decision. If you are going to be beholden to billionaires instead of the people, I don't want no part of you. I think we should be looking for other people who believe in the system. Believe in not the rich class making a determination, but the people to making a determination. They should be answering to the people. And I'm fed up. I'm done. I'm getting tired of them counting on my vote, but not listening to me when they start to do their thing. They're not listening to the people. Who the hell are they listening to? They keep coming out with all these processes and saying, hey, these polls. Somebody said, dude, like I said, I got over 200,000 people that follow me, that subscribe to me. And not one have I heard say, I'm against Joe Biden. But you somehow go ask 5 people, supposedly 2 or 3 or whatever is on air, not saying that they don't want Biden to be president, but when they're asked, you notice they don't give you the question that was asked. And by them answering, you can tell as a reporter, as a person I was an engineer, as a person that was in the news, I understand the question that they asked them. Listen to the way they responded. Whenever you ask a person a question, the response is pretty much a reversal of what they just asked. So if I asked you, you think Joe Biden should drop out? I don't think Biden should drop out. Same question, same way. They lead with what you just asked. So if they said, you think Joe Biden should drop out? I think he should drop out because I think he should be, because that's the way it was asked. If they asked a question like a journalist, what do you think should happen with the Democrats, with everything going on? They would tell you what's going on. They would tell you that way they'll start it off by saying, you know what, with all this stuff going on, I think they should give Biden a chance. I mean, he's already brought us to the dance. That would be a good response. Or they could say, you know what, with all this going on, it'd probably be good if he dropped out because, you know, it's just so much pressure and we need all we can get. But I don't know who be put in his place. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. The last one had 80 million votes. I don't think we're going to get 80 million people to back Joe Smo. And we're going to need it because this fool is going to have 70 million plus. So we need to keep somebody in that's going to do that. That's what I would think. They ain't asking that question like that. They're asking the question leading. You think he should drop out? What do you think about Joe Biden's faults and stuff that are happening to him? Do you think Joe Biden is old? Well, yeah, he's old. Oh, okay. But I'm still going to vote for him. They don't catch that part. Yeah, he's old. Cut. Show it to everybody. It's disgusting. So, yeah, my thing is going to be PC Democrats, people's choice. I want it to ring loud and clear for the leadership. Stop listening to the billionaire class and listen to the people. There's more of us than there are of them. There are literally 1,000 billionaires. There are literally millions of us. And all 1,000 aren't for the Democrats. So if it was half and half, you got 500 Democrats that are billionaires, and the rest of us you're not listening to. You're listening to the 500. Well, I'm sorry. Let them vote for you. That's 500 votes. What about the rest of us? I want to do this thing called PC Democrats. And I'm starting to GoFundMe. If we want to start it, we can start it now. I'm voting all Democrat this time around, but I want them to know they don't have my vote next time. I want to have this whole grassroots campaign of finding people who want facts, that will not allow their politicians to lie to them without being held responsible for the lie. I want them to have, everything that I envision, and it's all starting from crumbs right now. If you want to do it, I'm putting up the GoFundMe. I want $1 only. $1 only. You got to donate $5 on GoFundMe. But I want 5 people. If you got to get 5 people, whatever, and put the $5 down and have 5 people, why am I doing this? Because I want to show the media that for every dollar, that $1 that comes in, this is what the people want. To hell with what they're asking in the news. These people put $1 behind. They want not only Joe Biden, they want their leadership to fucking listen to them and stop playing like these billionaires are the ones that are going to get the votes in. If you're going to go to the billionaire class, ask them for your vote. And this goes for all people, because I believe that everybody can be able to have a part of this country without saying, if you get something, I don't get something. What are we, 5? Every community needs something. And I should not be going against another community getting what it needs just because, oh, they got it, I didn't get it. The hell with that. What does your community need and want? Write them down so that we can have some kind of census that this community needs this community needs that community needs this, and then we can work on trying to get those things for the community. It's a we thing, not a me thing. All these communities, oh, me. No, it's a we thing. What you need is not what I need. What we give you does not take away from me. It's an all or nothing type situation for people. It really isn't. It really isn't all or nothing. If your community needs a new bridge, why would I say no? Because my community don't even have a bridge. It does, but I'm just saying, I may live in the country, don't need a bridge. You know what we need? We need something else. Our farmers need whatever. Then I should be voting for those farmers to get what they want. It ain't taking shit from me. I ain't gonna look at your yard and see what you need. What do I need in my yard? This is what I need. Okay, why can't I work hard for mine and for yours? Why do you always gotta look at my yard and say, he shouldn't have a tree, I want a tree? Will you stop already? If you want a tree and I want a tree, what's the reason why we both can't get it? We pay enough taxes for everybody to get something. Every community gets something. But you got these politicians lying to you that you can't get it. They ain't enough. It's so weird how when COVID came, we literally had billions and billions of dollars to give to everybody so they can live. That's why most of these Republicans and these dumb people talking about, oh, I got so much money under Trump. I had so much money. You know why? Because they was giving the shit out. But that stopped. And all of a sudden, I ain't got enough. You ain't smart enough to realize that they had to cut off the fucking like funds because COVID went away and you had to go and work. You don't equate those two? I mean, come on, man. Be realistic. Be realistic. But we got enough to help us. The thing that kills me, people always talk about, well, we're sending money over here, we're sending money over here. That ain't, dude, we have budgets for stuff. It's not like they took money, billions of dollars, out of the budget that they had for Texas, California, Chicago, New York. We got a budget for us. There's a budget for the military. There's a budget that we have for like UN shit. That's what it's coming out of. It's not coming out of your pockets. We pay to have all these things to protect us. We pay into a pot that literally goes toward helping other people. How do you think we became a superpower in this country? We have to be able to help our allies. So when shit go down for us, they help us. If you think this country, like this is another thing about Donald Trump and his minions. If you think this country can ride by itself, you are a complete idiot. If Russia got together with China, got together with North Korea, right? And we drop out the UN where nobody comes to help us, those 3 countries will fuck us up. And y'all keep acting like, oh, we too big. No, you're not too big to fail. You got to look at the scope of the country, the world. These countries can annihilate us. Don't be all happy in your comfortability when you don't realize the scope of how this country works. It kills me with this ignorance. It kills me with this ignorance. Oh, we're super powerful. We're only super powerful as our allies make us. Yes, we have a huge army, but we can't take on the entire world at once. We will lose that. We get out of the UN rather, and these 3 powerhouse countries come together against us. Who you think they're going to force against America? All these other countries. Do you understand something? Another structure that you may not understand. Donald Trump had us come out of the United Nations, whatever, right? UN. What happens if the UN decided that the other countries that are mega powers are now in the UN and America's on the outs? Our safety is fucked, correct? You get that? Our safety is fucked, right? Exactly. They got you thinking that we safe just because we're America. We're not. We can't continue down that path of thinking that we can't be fucked up. We can be. By far, we can be. So what we have to do, come together, realize these things are powerful and that we can make these things happen. That we got to put together, like I said, with $1 each, and you put $5 in, it tells them that this is how many people literally are down for this. If we get 1,000 people, that's 1,000 people that I can go and tell everybody about. Say, look, we got 1,000 people. Tell the media, also like that literally want to change into a whole different faction of how we do politics. Who knows? We may get 10,000. We may get more than that. That's newsworthy. That's putting it out there, letting people know this is what we're doing. We're sick and tired of you guys trying to run the narrative, even though there's millions of us that believe one way, and you go out here on the news day to day lying, saying that these 3 people represent America, knowing damn well you asked 30 people and you only put the 3 people that match your narrative. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. So I'm going to launch it right now while we're doing this live. I'm going to launch it right this minute, see if it comes up. I don't know if they have to verify stuff. I haven't done a GoFundMe in a long, long time. Again, it's only everything will be used to start this whole faction up, because if I do it and everybody wants to do it, then I'm going to go ahead and get it registered. That costs money and all these different things, and start it all up. And then we're just going to start having meetings and stuff and talk about what it is that the people want. I don't care if it's going to be on a format or something like that we have, or online, or whether we're going to meet up in California. That's where I'm at. I don't know. I'm doing it right now because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So it will be, let's see, it says share the fundraiser. I don't know who the hell I'm going to share it with. Let me see if I can be able to link it or whatever. I don't know. That's that. Copy. I'm going to share it on all my platforms. But if you... It's GoFundMe /4CAB. 4CAB. I think that's what it is. Let me go ahead and write it down again. And we'll see. Again, it says $5. Oh, it's more than that. It's 4C. I put it in the comment section. Let's see. I'll put it right here. GoFundMe. And hopefully they let it happen. I don't know. Some of these apps won't let you do it. But there's the link right there. Hopefully they let you go to it. I'm not sure. I just launched it right this second. And again, you can read it. It's all about starting something where the people decide. I'm tired of billionaire classes telling us what the hell to do, telling our party what to do. Our party should be running steadfastly with Joe Biden. It just got told today that he has COVID, praying for him with COVID at this moment, having to deal with a party that's turned on him. Not all of them, but what's pissing me off are the ones who haven't turned on him aren't in the news every day fighting for him. It's like they're just tacit, just sitting there waiting to see what happens. I'm sick of that shit. Anybody that is not fighting fervently, that's within my grasp of voting for, I'm not voting for you next time. Any of these Democrats in California, in my district, that are out there, senators, all that, if you're not riding or dying with Biden, I'm not voting for you next time. That's just point blank, period. I'm finding somebody else who is down for the truth, who is down for the people. I'm sick of you getting your $30 million or $3,000 or $15,000 by whatever faction and making decisions based upon who gives you the most. You are supposed to work for the people. And it's obvious you're not. Because if you were, you'd be out there, one of you motherfuckers out there, at least one of you would have the same passion that I have toward Biden. One of you. I don't see one. It's a damn shame. Even if this man loses, he did his best. I'm going to sit here and turn on him. The hell is that? It makes no sense to me. All this shit. 12 billion? 6 billion. to HBCUs. I didn't even go to one, and I'm happy for them. Again, it doesn't really affect me. None of my kids are going there. I'm not going to any of them. But I know it's going to help out the kids who are going and their families. It's a we thing, not a me thing. And white kids go there, Latin kids go there as well. It's just that black people started it. Because why? White people wouldn't let them into colleges at the time, so they had to start something else. That's the history of this thing. We all can get what we need, what we want. The problem is none of us, I can say none of us, most of us don't know what we want. I don't see a collective saying, hey, in my community, we need this. Hey, in my community, we need that. I don't see a collective doing that at all. I don't see anybody unifying, saying what they need in their community, and then going to a source and say, hey, we need this, and we need this, and we need this. I'm like, all right, cool. Then let's work together and figure out something on how we can all get what we're trying to get. Or at least a pathway to it. No. We keep waiting on these people to make the decisions by listening to us. They come to one little community meeting, listen to us, and go about their business and do whatever the hell they want to get done. Because they know we're going to vote for them because of the existential threat of Donald Trump. But no loyalty to us. They're loyal to the rich class. And the reason why I say that, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they aren't out here fighting and saying, go Biden. They're literally saying, whatever he wants to make is a decision. He already made it. I'm done. So you can follow the link if you so choose. It'll let me know who's behind it. Everything will be used toward building that. If nobody wants it, then I'll donate the money to something or whatever. If we only raise like $20, whatever, I'll make a video of donating that money to somebody. But this is what I want. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. These people do not represent me. Not one bit. I am passionate. I'm sitting here watching the news, just yelling at the damn screen. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking? Where is a person like me? I don't see nobody like me. You telling me I'm the only person that exists that is fighting for democracy, that realizes that we only have 4 months? Even if you want to put somebody up, do we have time to get the world to know this person and their ideologies? Are you trying to lose? Are you trying to lose? Because if you are, then there's some other motive here. And that's what I feel like. There's an ulterior motive here. Because you ain't trying to win if you're trying to throw willy-nilly in there last minute and thinks that everybody wants to vote for him. Yeah, the diehards will. But will the people in the middle who don't know who they want to vote for, but leaning more Biden because they know him? Now you're going to tell me you're going to put in somebody new that they don't know? They're going to lean more toward us? That we're going to get that person's policies out there in less than 4 months? I call bullshit. You ain't trying to win. You're trying to lose, and I don't understand why. We can't be solid with our guy who's getting old, but they can be in solidarity with their guy who grabs women by their vaginas, who literally steals money, and then people say, "Oh, who got hurt?" Is that the meter in which you commit crimes? So as long as I steal money, make money off your money, give it back to you, I didn't create a crime. Yes, I did. I stole money. I got lucky that I won whatever I invested it in and made it back and gave it to you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have no money. I stole it, then gave you it back. That's still theft. It's insane. And that party is behind them 100%. And you see the news just sitting there just talking about him like, whatever. Look at him. He looks so serene. That was Katie Tur talking about Donald Trump because he was just sitting there being happy that people will give him all these accolades and claps and shit. He looks so serene. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He looks so serene. That dude is horrific. The things he said, the things he's done. You're looking at a man that grabs women by the vagina and you're sitting there talking about he looks serene. It's insane. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't have the DNA of racist white people. I don't have it, so I can't. My brain doesn't work and see that. I can't fathom what they're saying. I can't grasp what they're saying. It's illogical to me. It does not compute. I don't see how it even barely computes to them, but somehow it does. You hear them talking and shit, and like, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But then within the same tongue, they'll flip over and say, oh, he looks so nice today. He looks so nice. He looks so presidential. I'm like, are you seeing the same man I'm seeing? The hell are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. I'm living in an upside down world. That's why I'm starting this. Y'all can check it out if you want. Yeah, she said serene. Yo, is it peace, baby? I flipped out when I heard that. It's not more important than our lives. I hear you, Benny Loco. I mean, I'm trying my best to figure it out. If y'all got other solutions, I'll let you know. But keep following me. I got to get going because I was supposed to be having a class right now. But it's insane, y'all. It's insane. Check out the GoFundMe. I'll see where the people who are behind it. $1. I know you got to donate $5, but make sure 4 other people outside of you want to do it too. So that when I'm telling people about this, I'm saying this is how many people. $1 equals a person. This is how many people literally want this. Quit telling me in the news that they don't. They put $1 behind it. They want it. Point blank, period. No other thing you can tell me. You can, oh, well, maybe they didn't know. They did. So stop sending us that narrative. And because at the same time, I'm going to send a letter. Once I figure out how many people it's going to be, I haven't put a time limit on it, but I'm going to send a letter to the Democrat Party and say, look, and also I know the Black Caucus is behind it, but they still should be out there screaming at the top of their lung that says, we started this because you fucked up and did this. I was loyal to your party till you showed me you didn't give a fuck. Now it's the PC Democrats, and we're going to decide what we want, who we want. Billionaires be picking who they want to go as senators and representatives, state, local, and all that. No more. The people will decide. The people will decide. The hell with what they put up. If we don't like them, we find somebody else. We recruit people that are down for telling the truth and working in the government that literally cares about the people, all of the people. I know I'm black, but I want Latin people to get their stuff, white people to get their stuff, poor white people to get their stuff. But I want us to work together. Understand that there are some disparities in some communities. Poor black communities, poor white communities, poor Latin communities. They're going to need more help. But in your middle class community, what do you need? You don't need the same things they need. Quit bitching about what they getting. What do you need? They can fight for what you need. It's the people. Quit dividing yourselves over dollar bills. Work together. We're supposed to be united. How the hell can we ever get united? Y'all always fighting over, I got this, you got this, you can all get. You don't want the same things. Quit lying to yourself. Middle class people have different problems than poor people have. You don't want the same things. Quit lying. You want something, they want something. You should be fighting for what they want. They should be fighting for what you want. It doesn't take anything away from each other. Matter of fact, it helps one another connect. If the poor people need clean water and sound buildings and rebuilding their structure so that they can and putting a factory or so near their community so they can have economics, it does not hurt you for you to want that for them. If you need less community stuff over here and you don't want like factories in your community because you're middle class, you don't want to be near nothing loud and all this stuff like that. Poor people know they're going to put it in their communities. But the middle class may want something else. Whatever you want, put it out there. Let people know. And then we can work together. Otherwise, it's a wrap, yo. This country's going to hell because there's nothing we can do if we're not sitting here working for one another and always working against one another. They love division. Our thing is unity. I can get and you can get. It's a we thing, not a me thing. All right. I'm going to get up out of here. I'm going to deal with this. I got a mental health show, and I need it right now. I meditate at the beginning and meditate at the end, and in the middle we deal with mental health. So I need that right now. I'm about to do that on TikTok. You can follow me on TikTok, Mr. Straight Facts, No Chaser, fuck your feelings. I'm going to go over there and do that. I wanted to get on here and talk about this because I am very passionate about changing this country's perspective. I really want to know, not even changing your perspective, being able to have your perspective heard, but is more or less what I want to do. Because I'm tired of rich people making the decisions and us just having to vote. Vote for this person that this rich person put up in front of you. He's good. Really? How do we know that? How do we know who they're attached to? I want somebody who's not attached to nobody. They're attached to the people. I don't want them taking money from billionaires at all. Same amount of money they take from me, they take from them. I don't want you beholden to nobody rich. I want you beholden to the people. Y'all understand? Y'all really don't understand. I want to build an app that's focused on the people making decisions and your leader following suit. I'm tired of them making their choices based upon media and what people say and polls and shit. No, if I voted for you, I should have a direct connection to you in which I can be able to vote on anything that I want, and that should lead your decision on the vote. If you're voting alongside a billionaire's decision, and yet though you got millions of people right here saying, this is what we want in that bill, next time you go up, you're getting voted out. Responsible leadership, not this willy-nilly, fly-by-night, rich people bullshit. That's the way I feel about it. I'm going to let you guys go. As always, y'all have a good night. Be safe. I speak facts, straight facts, no chaser. I ain't going to say it. People don't want me to say the fuck your feelings out loud sometimes. But you know what it is. You know what? I'm going to do it anyway. Fuck your feelings. I love y'all. Y'all take it easy. Be safe. And I'll see you. Go fund me. For real. PC Democrats. PC Democrats. Keep it going.